Hey there, it's Arizona Javi here. So listen, there's always a lot of news happening with Phoenix, with really anything. And 2025 is going to be a very interesting year because we do have some pretty big changes happening. So in today's video, I'm going to go the top three things that I'm not say concerned about, but I'm kind of really keeping my eye on that I think will impact housing in a huge way in 2025. But also I'm going to share with you my insight on when this has happened before, what happened, because I've been doing this a long time. I not only do this, but I've done the YouTube game and I've helped a lot of first-time home buyers. So I've lived through a lot of this, and I'm going to give you what I think. No fancy video editing effects, no fancy pop. I just spend a lot of time watching a lot of the Phoenix creators making videos about this, and I was like, man, it's like feels like I'm watching Mr. Beast. What's going on over here? Anyways, Javi has to be a little salty sometimes, okay? So I apologize about that. But let's get to it. The first one is going to be something that is going to be very interesting because I did see this happen a long time ago, and it's funny now it's being made a big deal. The first one is going to be quite simply, there's going to be a massive changes that come basically to ACs. Okay. So Arizona and Phoenix specifically, we need our ACs. Every house, I've never sold a house without an AC. The only house I think that I've ever dealt with that didn't have an AC was the first house I ever bought, had like a big old window unit because it was like a small 900 square feet house. That's it. But every house I've ever sold has an AC. So in 2025, there's going to be a change of the refrigerant. So there's going to be two new refrigerants that are going to be introduced. And essentially, all ACs are going to have to be transitioning to this one because they're banning the old substance. Here's your article I found that kind of goes over everything. According to this AC company that this news people talk to, when we get the first hot week in April, that's when you know people start thinking about air conditioning. That's when they're flooded with calls. Starting in January of this coming year, they're rolling out new refrigerants, which is going to kind of throw the whole AC industry on its head a little bit. They're stopping the production of the current refrigerant R410A. Those systems will no longer be produced after December 31st of this year. They will allow us to sell through the end of 2025, but after that, we will no longer be able to sell or install systems that use a current refrigerant right now. It will be better for the environment, but they're trying to get the lowest global warming potential number they can. Unfortunately, it's going to drive costs significantly up, which is going to impact homeowners. Okay, so here's the thing. With changes in refrigerant, they're factoring about 20 to 25% cost increase for an AC install overall once the new refrigerant comes out. That's due to testing new equipment, yada, yada. New refrigerant cannot be used in current units. The good news is that your current unit can still be serviced until it completely dies. This happened like halfway through my career. It was such a big thing because every home inspection I did during the inspection, home buyers would just get scared to death because every home inspector would call out, your AC is an old refrigerant, starting this year, boom, boom. It just devastate them. And I would hear it a lot and be like, oh my God, because they were switching from another refrigerant to this R410 or whatever that they're now removing. And, I would just be, oh my gosh, like, what's going to happen? This is so scary. The next year came, and the old systems that had the old refrigerant, they didn't sell they were able to find because they were saying that there was a run out of refrigerant, but they were able to find a substitute. So people that had the old refrigerant were still able to just service their ACs just fine. And they replaced their ACs when they needed to. And nothing really generally changed, but the anticipation that led to the actual change was massive because there's a lot of houses that didn't get purchased, or a lot of just fear that came across to it. And when it actually happened, it wasn't that big of a deal. So I'm anticipating in 2025, the same thing is going to happen. If you're buying a house, if you're looking into anything, your home inspector is going to scare you half to death. Your home inspector is going to tell you, this is going to be the old refrigerant, this blah, blah, blah. You're going to have to spend $12,000, $15,000 for a brand new unit. You're completely screwed. I've lived through this before. People are going to be fine. If this is complete scary, if you're buying a resale, you're probably not going to have a new AC with a new refrigerant. Next, 2026, 2027, you're going to start seeing, oh yeah, well this house has a new refrigerant. Oh, great. 5-10 years later, it's going to be a brand new refrigerant. We're going to do the same crap over and over again. So what you can do instead is ask these questions when you're looking at the AC. What has the maintenance looked like for the unit? What is the history of it? If the seller has been maintaining it every 6 months to a year, it's fine if it's the older unit. Okay, it's an older refrigerant, but if it's been maintained impeccably, you're going to be okay. You could try to get a warranty or like a home warranty to help you cover that, but a lot of these warranties are snakes. They're gonna just get you to pay the $500 to $800 a month, and when it's time to actually repair something, they're gonna find all kinds of ways to slither and to not get you what the AC that you wanted. So if you need the help, then that's there. But really, I don't recommend this. I'd rather you budget for any potential AC when you're saving money for a new house, whatever. Like whenever you buy something, you're doing your inspection, you're finding out things that you're gonna have to eventually replace. If the AC is the old refrigerant, but it's technically working just fine, just start budgeting in the back of your head for at least a good down payment for an AC in the future. So maintenance, budget, and more importantly, who is telling you the news? AC companies are going to be probably creating scripts right now ready to train and scare the crap out of you. I once had an AC guy tell me, oh God, I love these service calls. It's my time to just sell a new unit. Who's telling you? Is it the AC company? Is it an inspector? Who can you really trust? That's the part I don't really know. Okay, who can you really trust? But just be mindful and aware of who's telling you this. If the seller's been in the home for the last 5-10 years and there have been no issues, they've been maintaining it every 6-7 months, odds are if you continue that same maintenance level, it probably will be fine. This is a crazy thing. Salespeople will sell. If you're bringing in an AC company who's trying to sell you a new unit, they're going to tell you all the scary things. Let it flow like water, my friends. I know there's not that much water right here in Arizona, but let it flow. The second biggest changes happening in the Phoenix housing that I think will impact us is going to be this new, is it a law or a rule change where they approve something where essentially now Phoenix has basically discontinued its prohibitions of not allowing residents to use backyard guest houses as short-term rentals. So essentially ADUs are fully now able to be used as Airbnbs, backyard casitas basically. According to Councilwoman Laura Pastor, love me some tacos at Pastor, I'm not really happy with it, noting how the city passed an ordinance last year on ADUs. That ordinance languages will now have to change. Basically what's happening here, the number of permitted dwellings increased from 1 to 2 ADUs per lot for a single family home. A third ADU will be permitted on lots measuring at least 1 acre. So, and ADUs are considered affordable housing. The design of an ADU is no longer to match the exterior of the single family home. So the ADU can look completely different than the actual exterior of the single family. I don't know what HOAs are going to do about this, because HOAs are super strict about it. And the setbacks for ADUs have been reduced to 5 feet where the adjacent to the side property line. So they can really start stacking these ADUs into backyards. Now I know like in some places, let me confirm this, like California, can you like buy an ADU in California? Yeah, California homeowners are now allowed to sell ADUs. I know like in some parts of the country we can sell that. I'm not sure if we're quite there yet, but unfortunately we're going to start seeing a lot more people start making ADUs on the property. And what the problem with this that I usually experience is people think their houses are worth a lot more when they have ADUs in the back, or you're going to start seeing people really in neighborhoods, you're going to start seeing people start building houses in their backyard and start kind of creating like a housing, like I always call them apartments, like apartments in the back of the house and stuff like that. So I don't mind if we start turning ADUs into like housing and have affordable housing for people. But I just, anytime we move towards like being like California when it comes to housing, when it's like just overly expensive, not talking about California about political issues, more like the actual housing and how it's unaffordable to buy there, it makes me a little bit nervous. I don't like short-term rentals. I think personally there's a need for them around major events like stadiums and whatnot, but when they're like, I live in a neighborhood right now where they're just surrounded by, and I hate it, right? So I think they have a necessity sometimes, but overall I think there's just too many of them, and I don't like the idea of having the opportunity to create more ADUs to have more short-term rentals. I hope that ADUs are created where we can house like family members and friends in the back and long-term rentals and stuff like that. But overall, I think this will impact us. How it will impact us positively or negatively, I'm not sure, but it's something that you should be aware of. The last thing is every realtor is going to tell you, because anytime there's any kind of hint of good news, a realtor is going to throw it at your face to try to sell you. Speaking of the good news, by the way, I have to say, hope that you've enjoyed the video so far. If you are interested in starting to browse for some houses, I got a pretty sweet website. You can links in the description below. Start creating your search. I like to actually search by map, where you can go in here and, it's really like any other area, but I like to first, before I start selecting a city, put my price range. So let's say I'm looking up to 450, look at my bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, single family, before I start applying the area. The reason why I do this, You are going to be required to put your email, phone number, potentially if you want a name, but that information is going to me. Reason I like doing that is because you can start kind of figuring out different areas that maybe you weren't really, well, I wasn't looking about surprise, but there's actually some houses there in that price range. So I really highly recommend it. Check out my website. It's javier.azhomesold.com. Links in the description if you want to check it out. Also, if you're a little bit like more ready to get the ball rolling, you want to work with me for sure before you want to check my stuff out. There's also a link below to schedule an appointment and do a one-on-one with me. But now, anyways, the good news: Taiwan Semiconductor is building a massive plant in the North Phoenix site. We already are seeing the benefits of this. Benefits, I'm not sure. I had a house for sale in Surprise, like far out Surprise, and it was listed, I think 515, 520. Eventually got reduced to 500, 510. Like within the first month, we received an offer, $470,000 or $480,000 cash from someone from Taiwan who was going to be moving here to buy it. It should have taken that offer. We eventually negotiated back and forth up. We got them up to 490, I think 485. The seller did not want to take it. They're no longer working with me. They're still on the market with another agent at 500. Anywho, it was frustrating, but I wish we would have just taken that offer. So we're already getting people coming here. I'm also a Zillow agent myself, and I get calls from North Phoenix, like I think what was it called? Not Vistancia. Yeah. A lot of I get a lot of calls over there where people coming in from Taiwan, they don't really speak great English and they're looking to buy because they're going to be working there, and they're working in nighttime and they have weird, whatever the case is. So we're already getting a lot of people. A lot of people think it's going to be just people are getting hired from the Valley, and I hope that's the case. But what I'm predicting will happen is they're going to be bringing in a lot of folks that are either working nationally or internationally right now that are going to be relocated to Phoenix. That relocation is going to really benefit some areas, but unfortunately, whenever there's a large volume of relocations, it benefits more the sellers than the actual buyers, because now buyers have more people to compete with. So will that impact us negatively or positively? I'm not sure. A lot of realtors are twisting this to be positive because, more jobs are being created and whatnot, but when those jobs are unfortunately not from people that are already here locally, we're going to potentially see new buyers coming in and making things a little bit more competitive. My hope is I'm wrong. And there's going to be a lot of local hires that are going to benefit from a higher wage and potentially, overall more money equals better situation. At least not all the time, but, at least here in Phoenix, I think that would help. But that's something that you need to be aware of that potentially might change. So I appreciate you guys watching this video. If there's anything I missed or maybe something that you want to add, feel free to leave a comment below. There's a great community here at Arizona Javi, and I look forward to chatting with you guys, whether it's in person, one-on-one, or just at the street. I had somebody the other day, I was getting Starbucks, and they're like, "Hey, Javi." And I was like, "Hey, what's up?" I hope that they were recognizing me from my YouTube and they just didn't just know me in general, just from my rumors out there. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. Have a good day.